Hello, everybody. We're going to get right into it because I've got limited time, and I think there's a good chance we might finish this up today. Oh, geez. Holy smokes. I've switched my camera around a little bit. I don't know how well that's going to work. I don't really want it on there. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if that works or not. Sorry if that was loud. It looks like it peaked at one point. My babe. Squeaks and whatnot. Hi, Kate. Hi, Kate. Hello, Insane Ninja Boy. Yeah, I think I will zoom in a little bit. I kind of wanted to have a little bit more of me, but make me smaller. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. I don't know if I like the vibe. I just have to pop her in a little bit further. I didn't hear you, Kate. What? Kate's talking smack from a distance. I don't know what she's. Zoom in. All right. We'll do. That's better. I mean, that's fine. But the thing is, I need to pan it over. Wrong way. That's better. Now I'm centered in my world here. That's probably no different than how it was before, but that's fine. Okay. Insane Ninja Boy, how are you? Happy Thursday. I will not be streaming again this week. It's Thursday, so I will not be streaming Friday. Friday, we're going to the Science Museum. That's pretty exciting. Taking the kiddos and all that good stuff. Saturday is just kind of a busy day with things loaded on the front, loaded in the back, and we're going to kind of chill. And then Sunday, I already forgot, Twins game. We're going to the Twins game. So busy couple of days ahead of me, so I'm going to really hope I can finish this game today, which means I should push the button and get going. Oh, let me get my sound up, or I confuse myself for 45 minutes. Click. So we're in Act 3. Act 3 looks to be significantly shorter than Act 2. And we're not only just starting Act 3, we actually made it a little ways in. So we shall see. But a lot of cool stuff happened in the last stream. There's still a couple episodes to go live on YouTube tomorrow and the next day. We'll get maybe one or two more episodes out of today and see if that's the conclusion or not. But this has been a fun game. I've enjoyed it. Okay, well that answers the question of who that is. We know that from the last episode. The Owl Band, that's right, the Owl Band. It took me a second. What were you talking about? What up, Ash? How are you? Thank you for changing your name color to green, except now you match Insane Ninja Boy. Analysis paralysis. Multiple directions trying ahead and dealing with the you can do anything, you can't do everything. I understand. Oh yeah, we're running. I forgot. We're running. I thought my game was glitched. We're being chased by... Okay, so filling you in. We basically just killed our own father. He wanted us to, so it's okay. And now we're being chased by terrifying things. Oh, that looks wrong. Yeah, there were 2 YouTube notifications. I disabled one of the videos. I put it unlisted. I gotta figure out why it did that again. That looks good, Ash. You want me to pull it out? You do it. You did it. Good. going on with the floor here? It's like semi-translucent. Okay. Or I guess that's just a grate. Can we look through the... No, we can look through the entire floor. Okay. Huh. I don't know if this is a memory, but this seems to be a bad one. Good shivers. Good shivers. Ooh. That got me. I'm assuming that's Lisa then?
Please. Let me go. Harm's friend. Let me die.
I can't take much more of this!
You murderer.
Hey, hang in there. Focus on what's ahead. You need to concentrate. Leave the rest to me.
Well, what's ahead of me right now is vomit. So... there that is.
Run!
Fixed it.
Hurry, he'll be here soon.
Oh, now we're sprinting. Okay, Serpentine. Serpentine, you do slow down if you touch those, apparently. Oh, we shifty. He's Saquon Barkley up in here. Okay. Oh, he's sliding. Brain. Oh, flayed. Yuck. I don't like that. That's gross. Ew. Papa? Mama? Ugh. That is a troubling visual. I think you unlisted the restream YouTube stream. Think so? Hold on. Pause. Are the Twitch chats not showing up in... Well, the YouTube... okay. Let's find out. It created 2 for some reason. Kate, could you check that if you have a second? Okay, Kate's checking right now. It is the wrong one? Yeah. Oh, I failed. For some reason it created 2 and I'm not entirely sure why. Let me flip that. Somehow. There it is. Oh, that's annoying because that's the one that it's the wrong. Okay. Got like the wrong thumbnail tied to it and stuff. Let me correct this quickly. It should have, okay, pulled over all the rest of the information, so that's good. Let me just pop my thumbnail on there. Put that in live stream. Content. Sorry, Twitch, hang with me 1 second. Oh, all of the tabs are gone. This restream thing would be super cool if it made a little bit more sense. Just a tiny bit more sense. It does things that I can't quite wrap my head around sometimes. Just trying to update the correct video. So I disabled. I disabled what I think was the right one, but it just for whatever reason, when it went down last time, last stream, I think it must have messed with the settings in a stupid way. Copy those. Paste those. Oops. Okay. Oh, it didn't update the title though either. Okay. Go ahead and test it now. That should be working properly now. Hold on. Trying to save. Restream is here. Okay, good. Look at this fixer of all things, right? It's nice to be able to fix it. I just kind of wish I could do it before the stream starts. It's really trying to save that, but I don't think it's going to. So I'm just going to not touch it. And we'll just, we'll just kind of go from there. Just going to let that live. Okay, here we go. Rumor has it that thanks to some terrible real-world choices, my job is going to be doing away with bonuses for the foreseeable future. Yeah. Yeah, that's not good. I am sorry to hear that. That is a bummer. And I don't know anything about your job, but the thing that concerns me, the thing that worries me the most about that, and then we'll start playing again. I know this is an important scene, but I wanted to fix that. But now we're on a side thing. The thing that's going to drive me nuts about the things that are about to happen is that everything that happens that negatively affects a consumer in this country is going to be based on inflation. It is going to be, the excuse is going to be inflation. And it's going to be tariffs. And I bet best case 50% of that is accurate. And the 50% that isn't are companies being able to rely on that excuse to hurt consumers and employees. That's the thing that absolutely gets me, because the greed is going to be allowed to run rampant when all the rules are thrown out the window. So yes, I'm sorry that's happening. That sucks. Real bad. But here we go.
No, this is not his destiny. Father. How about this? Give me some time.
It'll be $80 Switch 2 games.
Yourself,
Yeah.
Father.
Of all the companies to move to 80,
You
I'm
saved
both
me. Your voice.
surprised it's Nintendo and not surprised it's
The voice in
Nintendo.
my head. Who are you?
I'm Lisa. Lisa McGovern. Yes, I've been observing you since you entered my brother's head. Time.
Live sure in a couple weeks, make car payments.
Time.
Tariffs messing up automobile
Time.
manufacturers, gonna hurt us bad. Yeah. God
Do you still have my brother's cassette player?
Yes.
damn. Don't you how
I
hot
still
you are
have
when
it.
you say some sensible stuff. It's been a couple years, Ash.
Ha! Now this is a true classic.
I have missed it.
Hold my hand tightly.
What now?
Let's go find my brother.
Hey, you should flip to the other side.
What?
I said this side's done. You should flip to the other side.
No, I want to play it in reverse, babe.
Okay. Yeah, and
What is
Nintendo
this
never goes on
place?
sale. Are we boycotting
Maybe
Switch 2?
some kind of hyperdimensional space tunnel?
I mean, I'm still buying it probably
I
day
don't
one.
know.
But
I can't even explain it myself. But you must be careful. There are other things here.
Other things. Okay. So what do we do now?
Observe. Find some memories related to my brother. I'll piece them back together. This will help me find him.
how about this chair? Does chair remind you of him?
Why didn't you show up earlier? Only some intermittent sounds here and there.
I've been gradually regaining my ability as Daniel's condition worsens.
So now you're able to cross over to here.
That's right. I don't think he's going to make it. We need to work harder.
Switch 2 has a shittier battery life than the original? I don't think so. I think it has a bigger battery. Is that something that has come out? I thought I read an article saying that the battery life should be
Hey.
better.
There's a lot of torn paper and colored pens here.
Let me try.
Yay! What am I doing? Am I doing it? You doing it? Can I just hold it?
That's right.
Right
It's
on.
a picture he drew as a child. Father was always yelling at him for drawing. Let's continue.
Okay. 1 second. Okay, we're fine. The sound crackled for a second. I had an issue yesterday where like my speakers started crackling.
Do you know me?
I had to unplug my
I mean, the me
capture card, but
in the company.
it's fine.
I know you, in all the different times. So I feel safe letting you come into my brother's mind.
So you won't kill me anymore. Right?
No, I don't think so. Anyway, keep an eye on our surroundings.
I mean, they're painting a pretty clear picture. 2 to 6.5 hours. Okay. I mean, I very rarely use mine undocked, so I guess the battery life doesn't affect me that much. It does suck that it's like, I mean, I'm assuming there's more going on inside for getting it to be higher, whatever. You know what I mean? Ash, thank you for gifting the sub to Headless Wife. Hello, Headless Wife. Congratulations on the sub. Much appreciated. Until next year, okay. But I'm not getting Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Well, I saw something today, which was the big thing that I was worried about. And again, I'll cut this out of YouTube. I can, you know, the thing will be complete. If you have the Switch Online membership, which I do, the Switch Online Plus, whatever, you get the versions of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom apparently included. The Switch 2 versions, which is great because I have them both and I was not about to buy them again. So I am excited about that. But that's good to know. There's Headless Wife. Didn't get a chance to introduce her since we started dating on your hiatus. Oh, but that's my partner and future fiance. Did you just propose? You said that's my partner and future fiance. Aren't you? Surprise! We both know I've basically said yes, and we're just waiting on my dad. Oh, okay, all right. At least everybody's kind of on the same page. Well, congratulations. This is very
I'm not sure
exciting.
if this is what we're looking for. A broken toy train.
Let me take a look.
Don't worry, Ash. I won't tell her that you were hitting on me as of 5 minutes ago. I won't say a word about it. She won't hear it from me.
His favorite toy. It was always going round and round. You're really good at playing him. You know that? Let's continue.
Okay. Whatever you say, boss.
Okay, you hear that crackle? That's making me nervous. I don't like it. This is a first for me. Being around your future husband while he hits on another person, or first time in Twitch chat. Those are two very different conversations. We should suss out which one.
So,
It's true.
you're not actually a child, are you?
Oh,
I'm a walking
my.
bruise.
Why do you company employees always have so many questions? That's
Thank
right.
you.
I'm not a child.
Then why do you look like a child?
Because this is the only image of me that my brother has in his mind. He's unable to build an image of me the way I am in reality.
How about this? It looks like a broken camera.
Let me try.
Yes, the crackle is in the game. Do you guys remember what was it? Undead cop or something? Somebody in the chat who didn't just like hit on me, but it was aggressively gross. And then I finally called them out for it, and they unfollowed immediately. Yeah. Yeah, that was... Yep. I mean, it all started because they kept saying that I looked a lot like Chris Hemsworth, and I'm like, thank you. But then it got too much.
My father gave me this when I was in school. He always thought I'd take it with me when I went traveling the world, but I only got to use it a couple times before Daniel snatched it away. He always liked to play hide and seek with me, saying that there was a monster's eyeball behind me that could only be destroyed using the camera.
No wonder.
Yeah. That sound freaks me out every time, but it's fine. Everything's fine. Hey, nice beard. You suck at games. Yeah, there we go. That's the vibe of the channel. That's how it really is.
Lisa, how about this?
A photo. I don't remember who took it, but it's the happiest family photo we ever had. And also the last. Okay, everything's been restored.
We did it. Now let's go to the black hole. Can't figure out how to organize these YouTube streams. Well, I can if I'm not using Restream, alright?
What's going to happen next? Why don't you kill me? Like your father said.
Because you're a good person.
Appreciate that.
Whether it's in this space or another space, you're a good person. You just don't know it.
When all this is over, can I go back?
Yes, when all this is over.
I'll keep the secret safe.
You should know more than I do about how Leviathan operates.
On her shirt.
If you fail to keep the secret, I'll kill you before it happens.
Okay.
You, in any time, any space. In the past or the future.
Was that supposed to be an eye made of tape on the back of her shirt? The eyes are the big theme here.
Shh. Stay right here.
Sorry.
No.
Ash, thank you for the lurk.
Gone. All gone. Oh. All gone.
Daniel?
Do you know who I am? Can you help me look at this?
Hi, Daniel.
Do you know my parents? They're in this photo. But I can no longer see them clearly. Mutter? Otjed? Mom? I think my mother is calling me. She's calling me to dinner. Do you hear?
Daniel's lost it a bit.
Oh, my little brother.
Dad. Dad, I failed to protect her. I didn't keep my promise. I don't want to stay in this lonely castle anymore. I can't take it.
Castle?
Dad, this is the castle. I feel that this world is like a castle, built from countless grains of sand, standing on a beach, covered with clouds, as the black waves continuously beat against it. Every time the waves come, they carry away some of the sand. In this endless eternity, I am the protector of this crumbling castle. The sand is my memories. The castle, ravaged by the waves, is the secret I have guarded all my life. One day, I will be swept into the sea with the last grains of sand. I can't hold on much longer.
Seems to be falling to pieces pretty quickly.
I'm trapped here forever. I will be completely forgotten. Father!
You've done very well, little brother. You've done very well.
But the castle... I want to see the secret again. I will never see it again.
My little brother, trust me, you will see it again, because I'm here with you.
Lisa. Why did you take so long to find me? I missed you so much.
Daniel.
I'm getting like endgame vibes from this. I wonder if we're like right there. We built this city.
Let's go home,
We
Daniel.
built this. Oh, it's probably not what he's listening to. So does she have like just all the superpowers? Because we saw her in the last stream break all of the bones in a guy, and then she, what's the word I'm looking for? Where you disintegrated another guy. She can now rewind time. 1984. 3, 2, 1, 0, 9, 78, 70. Okay, went back in time. $1970 would be 14 years. Right? It's giving off ending cutscene vibes. There's got to be more though. This is kind of a cool little sequence. I like the music that's accompanying it as well. $18 years prior to the current, current in the game date.
Daniel, Lisa, it's time to eat.
Kids?
Mum, let me help you. Dad?
The hair on this family.
What is
Goodness.
it, Daniel? Hurry up and sit at the table.
Dad, hurry.
Understood.
Go. Go give him the camera. Go. Go give him the camera. Thank you.
Oh. We could have finished it last time. Oh, blast it all. I didn't think that act was going to be that short. Well, that was a nice little half-hour stream of, I guess it was 40 minutes, but 10 minutes of that was figuring out why there were 2 YouTube streams and talking about other things. Thoughts? I liked this game quite a bit. It handled itself. There's been such an influx of horror experiences, psychological horror games that have come that just they just don't have enough interesting things behind them. Yes, Justin, you did call it. We were right there at the end. In fact, did we basically just watch a cutscene? I guess I had to sprint for just a little bit, or I had to run away from something for just a little bit. Anyways, the way that this game was presented, and I think the effect that it was going for, I thought it was really good. Some game you're a teenage girl who can turn back time to prevent certain events from happening. Great. Yeah, are you talking that Square Enix game? I don't like them. They remind me too much of like The Walking Dead, or like the Telltale games. What is that called? Life is Strange. Yes, that's what it is. I'll be honest, I wish I wouldn't have stopped where I did stop, because this ending was abrupt, and I'm trying to think back to the events that got us here. Talking to our dad, we stabbed him at the end of the last sequence, and then we sprinted. So we sprinted. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of mad at myself. Kind of mad at myself for stopping when I stopped. I had no idea how much of those was. Yeah. Oh well. But that said, despite that, I was very happy with this game. I think this is one of the better one of these that I've played in a number of years. Good times. Thank you, everybody. Star Trek fans? Is that what that was? I don't know. We got more to see here, or are we just doing more credits? But I thought it was again, it was I like games that get weird, and this was a weird one. So yeah, no, Bird, with Life is Strange, the thing that I don't care for is that there is like next to no action in it. I don't like only narrative adventures. I need to have more to it than that. So let's settle in and see this here. Did this say 1988? It just cheers the error screen. No, I do not need to play Death Stranding. I've tried multiple times. I really do not like that game. I want to watch it. That's what I want to do. I haven't yet. I want to watch it because that's the only way I'm going to get through it. Yuck. He is a soup. Assuming that's Dazin running out of his face. At this moment, in another room, Leviathan Corporation containment room. I've tried to get to that point, Justin. I honestly cannot stand it. And I have to think that the gameplay is what it is, and it's not really going to change that much. We found Sista. So she's gonna go like tear shit apart now. Because the only thing keeping her calm was Daniel's existence and him being alive. That's what kept her in check. He's dead now. So she's gonna go
You have to believe.
crazy.
This is not the end. The universe will let us meet once again.
Yeah. This is I'll be curious at the end of the year where this ends up, but I think right now this is one of the stronger games that I've played of 2025. Turn that down just a little bit. Alright. Bird wants it now. Am I gonna play Repo? Probably not. That's a multiplayer thing. I'm not gonna. I don't play multiplayer games. That's not to say that at least not on stream. There are a couple of games that I'd like to play multiplayer. I have to find the time to do it. I've never played. I don't think I ever played Lethal Company. Is that the one where you record yourself and then play it back? What's that one? I might have played that one. Or maybe I watched that one. I don't remember. I just got added some combat sections in the beginning that really helped the pacing. Yeah, nothing about that game felt good to me. I don't like Metal Gear though either. I don't understand the massive love for Metal Gear and Death Stranding and Kojima in general. I think he's a visionary director and all that stuff, but I have not liked anything he's put out except Silent Hills demo PT, but co-op, not multiplayer. Well, no, I mean when I say multiplayer, I just mean I don't really play with other people. I'm so focused on single player games because there's so many that come out, and those are the things that have always like appealed to me. Yeah, I don't know. Every one of those that I've gotten into, or that I've tried, Among Us from back in the day, Phasmophobia, the one that I wanted to play but nobody was playing at the time, and now I don't really want to go back to, is Helldivers 2. That's one that I wish I would have had a chance to play when it first came out, even though I was not in a great state. That would have been the one that I think would have been a lot of fun with some folks. This is wild storytelling. It gets me. It comes up with insane stuff. Well, yeah. I mean, I guess that's. I haven't really seen it, but I when it comes to like, to me, the games have to have a certain. I like goofiness. I like strangeness. I like weirdness, but I'm all for that. But the gameplay in all of those games has been so disappointing to me that it just holds back the whole experience. It's just things that I'll just never experience. And I played Metal Gear Solid 5 for a good long time, just trying to grind through it. And every time I did, I just couldn't do it. And I've started Death Stranding 3 times. I've tried to make it, I think, past chapter 3? That's where everybody says it's like it picks up. And that is such a chore. I hate every second of it. And then I'm like, even if I make it there, nothing is going to change to the core concept of the gameplay, and it's really not going to matter. When it all comes down to it, I'm still going to be, even if it is a better, like, more balanced experience, the core components are not going to change. So, you were provided a save file that takes you to when content really picks up 20 hours into a game. Would you be interested in another shot? No, probably not. No, I'm done with the older Persona games. Again, I'm sad that I played those out of order. I wish I would have. I wish they would have released them. I mean, they obviously released them in order, but I wish in an alternate universe they would have remastered 3, remastered 4, and then I would have been able to play 5. That would have been cool, because I think then I would have appreciated 3 a lot more initially. I would have loved 4 more, and I would have fallen absolutely head over heels with 5. Instead, I really, really liked 5, and I saw the shortcomings and things that weren't there in 4, and then finally in 3, and by the end, I didn't care for them. What about Leisure Suit Larry? No, I won't play. No. That's a series that's never appealed to me. No, I'm thinking timing wise, like I'm gonna be busy all weekend, so I'm not gonna plan on streaming again. But I'm thinking timing wise, I might stream South of Midnight starting on Tuesday. I've got a real keen interest in that game. So I think that might be the next game that we jump into live with a live stream. But it won't be until Tuesday, because that's when it comes out. It's coming to Game Pass, so the price is right. So that should be fun. That's not the cozy one? What's not the cozy one? What am I doing this weekend? This weekend I'm doing, tomorrow we are taking the kids, because it's Jack's last day of spring break, last Friday. We're taking the kids, and Kate's mother-in-law is coming, and her sister, and her boyfriend, and all that stuff. So a whole big group of us are going to the Science Museum here in Minnesota. So we're gonna take the kids there, and then Saturday we are going to. Well, I'm gonna go to the gym in the morning. It might be a family trip. We'll see. Kate's not feeling super good, having some sinus issues, so hopefully she fights that off. But then Saturday night we're going to a friend's housewarming party. And then Sunday, we are going to a Twins game. So Sunday is supposed to be 40 degrees, though. So that kind of sucks. But we'll see. That is quite the busy weekend. Yeah, it's busier than we have been in quite some time. But it's good to be busy. So. Well, guys, I wasn't expecting a less than an hour-long stream. But I don't have anything else on deck. So I will probably see you guys on Tuesday. Yeah, that's it. You can stream some Elden Ring. I could stream some Elden Ring. I am near the end of it, but unfortunately, switching games with a YouTube stream is impossible. So instead of shutting it down, flipping everything around, making a thumbnail, and doing all that stuff, I probably won't do that now. A lot easier on Twitch. Again, Twitch live streaming, much better than YouTube. But that's how it is. What I can do is get some stuff done around here. I can break this up, get this off of my table, so I'm ready on Tuesday. I can maybe work on my thumbnail and get kind of things set up for that. So it will be a busy weekend, so why not get it out of the way now? But what are you guys doing this weekend? What do you guys got going on? I don't have to leave yet. We'll just switch this into a just chatting stream. You know what I can do? Hey, you guys want to hear about my top games of 2024? We talked about it briefly. We got time. Why don't we switch gears to that? What's the best way to do this? Let me turn you off. Let's do that. And then I don't even have this set up properly. Let me see if I can do a. What I'll do is I'll talk about what game I want to talk about, and then I'll play the trailer in the background quiet, so it'll be like a real professional looking engagement. You're fishing in a Wednesday. you're officiating a wedding on Saturday. I didn't know you could do that. How was Vacation Bird? Where did you go? Where did you? I don't know. I think you might have said I either forgot or I never read the answer when other people asked you. All right, let me flip this around. Hold, please. Yeah, we'll buzz through my top games of 2024. I've been thinking about doing that anyways, so I'll switch the Twitch stream over to just chatting. Palm Springs. Oh, in California, since people seem to confuse it with Palm Beach. Oh, yeah, you said Palm Springs, like Florida. Yeah, obviously. For a friend's 40th. 40 years old? Jeez. How embarrassing for them. I got ordained one drunken night at the bar on a whim and a dare, and it turns out it's valid. No, okay. I mean, hey, whatever works. Okay. Let's bring this up. Let's slide this over here. Oh, I didn't switch it to just chatting though. I just switched the title. Just chatting. And maybe I'll clip this out of the Karma stream. Okay, so if I do this, and then I do sources, add window capture, YouTube. Fit it in here. There we go. Hopefully it runs fine. Oh man. Oh man, I'm behind everything. Come to the, there we go. Birds in and out. Okay. Put that there. Go to YouTube. Go to this. Go to this. All right. Why my screen's just a little bit bigger than what I can show. I don't know. You were ordained for a day and conducted a wedding last year. Your ordaining was only good for a day? Interesting. Okay. I'm ready. 2024. So we'll work from the bottom. Let me start with this. I'm not going to show trailers for all of them, but here are the games that I didn't finish, or that I felt like games that I got pretty far in, but I didn't play enough to consider them as something that I finished and should be ranked. Okay, because all of these games are ranked, right? So these are the ones. So if I'm going to say these now because there's some big ones, and you're going to be like, well, what did you think of this? Or why didn't you have this on there? This is why. So Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I did not finish that game. To me, it reminded me a lot of the Dishonored games, which I don't like Dishonored. I don't like stealthy experiences and stuff. And I understand that one of the flaws of how I approached this game was I was stuck in the Vatican doing a whole bunch of stuff, and I found the Vatican extremely dull, very boring. Did not have a great time in the Vatican, but I also didn't move on to do more. So I'm not gonna say I didn't like the game; it just didn't grab me, and didn't really feel the drive to return to it. So, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, DNF. Another DNF, Ayuden Chronicles 100 Heroes. I found it to be a very pedestrian JRPG. And after playing, what would I have played before then? See, this would have been near the beginning of the year. I feel like I'd played like Chained Echoes, Sea of Stars, played games like that. And I thought Ayuden Chronicles was just a lesser version of those games. So, Mario and Luigi Brothership, I was pretty excited about that. That is an incredibly boring game. That is baby's first RPG, and I played it for a while. I played it about 10 hours, and it was not doing it for me. So, we noped out of that. It was extremely slow, a very slowly paced game. Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered. I wanted to give Horizon another shot, and when the remaster came out, I was like, well, now's as good a time as any. It's like $10 to get the 4K version and all that stuff, the PS5 version. But it's the same as before. No matter how interesting I think that world is and how much I want to know about it, 5 to 10 hours in, I fall off it entirely. I just don't care for it. I just don't care for it. Here, until we start the YouTube videos, let me put some music on in the background. There we go. And I'll turn it down a little bit. Something to serenade you while I speak. Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. I knew I wasn't going to like this game. I like Breath of the Wild. I want to like Tears of the Kingdom, and I'm going to give it another shot once the Switch 2 is out. But I thought Tears of the Kingdom just really did a good job of showing the Switch's age. But the 2D top-down Echoes of Wisdom, it was a little hard for me to do A Link to the Past, that remake. So you remove Link, and you give me Zelda, and you give me abilities I don't really care about. I just couldn't. I should have noped out of it. But I gave it a shot, and it wasn't my thing. Cryptmaster is a game where you type your way through a dungeon. I saw it actually at GDC when I was there last year, and it actually won the award for like I don't know, it was an indie award they were handing out. And it was initially very interesting. But the charm of that kind of wore off as well, as I powered through it. Dungeons of Hitterberg. I made it through 2 dungeons. This is one that I would actually recommend people try if you haven't. It was on Game Pass. I don't know if it's still on Game Pass. But Dungeons of Hinterberg, it was good. It utilizes it's a third person perspective. You go into dungeons and try to clear them out. It's like this cool location in the real world, but magic was found, or like something to that effect. So it's but just in this area, so it's a tourist trap. So they're promoting this area as a tourist vacation spot for you to come and fight through monsters and dungeons and stuff. And it's a neat concept. It's cool. But the gameplay just it didn't hold it up. Like it didn't stick for me. There's some social aspects to it as well. Not like multiplayer, but like kind of like the Persona games where you have like your social links and things like that, where you hang out with people and you can date people, and there's those kind of options and stuff. So it's an interesting one. Again, it was on Game Pass, so if you have it, maybe give it a shot. Persona 3 Reload. I did make it, I consider, pretty far in. I made it, I have notes here, helping me remember stuff. I made it about 40 hours in, which is pretty good. But again, after 40 hours, all I could think of was how, even though it is a quality life improvement for the re-released version, Cox shotgun. It just to me, it didn't measure up to 4, and it definitely didn't measure up to 5. Ash, I know it's your favorite Persona, and I'm sorry. Again, I would give anything to go back in time and play those games in order, because I think I would love them very much. And I would love them in the order that they released. I just could not go back. These are your top games? No, these are the ones that technically I didn't finish, and I didn't play enough to really... I didn't play enough to constitute as completing it. So... I'm not shitting on them. They're experiences that aren't tailored to me. So no, these are the ones, because what I wanted to do is when I go through my list and these ones are missing, then you understand why. I'm sorry, Ash. I'm sorry. Two small town man versus fog machine? I don't know what that means. I'm heated. Okay, so somebody fan Ash. I've made him very upset. Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2. This is a boring game. It is one of the most gorgeous games I've ever seen in my life. Fidelity-wise, it is the best of the best. But the gameplay was so boring and mundane, and the combat, the little bit that I was exposed to, I could not stand. I don't know what happened there. I don't. That's another one where I wish I could see the rest of the game, but getting through that, it reminded me a little bit of Death Stranding, where the parts that were gameplay focused were so flat. You liked Reload, but it was very overt by the end. Achievement hunting didn't help. That's achievement hunting. I mean, achievement hunting in general would kill my favorite games. That's why I absolutely can't do it. Yeah. Bless your heart, the fact that you can do that. There's 3 left. Animal Well was too puzzly for me. I got into it for a little bit, but it is. I do like my pixel art, like Metroidvanias. I like my pixel art side scrollers, but this was like this was too dated looking. It went back too far, to where like the visuals just didn't appeal to me, and then couple that with the puzzles that I wasn't having a lot of fun solving. Everything is so loud. What's loud? Oh, her ear cleared. Okay. I'm like, sorry. You're hanging out with me. Pacific Drive. I really didn't enjoy my time with this at all. I thought it was going to be a lot of fun. And there's a lot of people that really did enjoy it, but there's just that first person collecting jankiness that the things that I was required to do felt so much more like chores. I don't know. Yeah. So achievement hunting killed some games and enhanced others. Yakuza 0 is one of my favorite games of all time, and I think hunting it and doing all the little weird side stuff for that really helped. Okay, I could see that, because that's a game that, you know, if you get forced to go into the corners of what's there, yeah, you can find some pretty freaky stuff, pretty cool things. So I can get that. I can understand that. And the last one I'm not considering is Dragon's Dogma 2. Just a disappointing, boring game, again, through and through. The lack of fast travel, which what I've heard is that was meant to kind of instill a sense of realism to the game. That's a bad idea. That's just, I'm sorry. You're going to make a giant map and make me walk for 20 minutes to get to a location and then walk 20 minutes to hand it back in and stuff like that. I'm just sorry. That's just, I don't have time for that. So those are the games that are not included in the list. Feel free to chime in on any of these as we go. Just because we're done with that doesn't mean that I'm done shitting on games, though, because there are some. Well, there's one one specifically. The other ones have certain qualities, but there's one. This next one that I'm about to talk to. This is the last on my list. We'll work from low to high. That I thought was terrible. The only redeeming factor is that it was free. So, there are 29 games on this list. I'll go through it relatively quick. I mean, I've got all the time in the world, so I guess I'll take my time. Let's bring up the first trailer here. $29. That's how many games I finished. All right. Maybe what I'll do. Let's do this. Turn that down. Let's turn the music off. So this is Silent Hill. All right. This is Silent Hill, the short message. It's a free-to-play game. It came out when they did a whole bunch of talking about the big Silent Hill push, you know, when they announced, I think they announced 2, I think they announced, or maybe not 2, I don't know, but it was a big Konami event. It was short. It only took a couple of hours. There wasn't anything scary in it. The monster was something. Really, it was really something. It did cover some really heavy topics. It talked a lot about it covers things like suicide. But I think a lot of those emotional beats missed a little bit. But there were a couple sequences where you get chased, and those chase sequences were abysmal. They were awful. Did anybody try out Silent Hill: The Short Message? Like I said, it's free on PlayStation. I think it's still free. You can play it front to back. It's there. It's not a demo. It's just the full game. All right. Moving on to the next one. Alone in the Dark. The remake of the old game, or the reimagining, the reboot, the re-something. We'll do the release trailer. Another horror game. I played 42 last year. Completed 29 of those 100%. See that? I just rolled credits on these. But Alone in the Dark plays like a Resident Evil, and it. I'm trying to think. Let me watch the trailer here for a little bit. Let me just remind me of some of the elements. Oh, it also has these two main characters are like real life actors. Like the one that guy's from Stranger Things. I can't remember his name. And then the woman, I've seen her in a. Oh, I think she's in a. Peaky Blinders, like the first couple seasons.
No, actually, I don't think so.
Her.
Where am I?
But this, yeah, Alone in the Dark kind of had like some Silent Hill, Resident Evil vibes. Over the shoulder, third person perspective. Interesting puzzles. The combat was not very good. Despite me calling out the fact that it had these two actors, the acting was actually pretty bad. It was not great. And there were some technical issues that I came across. It's enough. Normally, I wouldn't really call those out unless they affected my experience, and there were a couple of times where they affected my experience. But this is one, like, if you're a horror game fan, I actually would recommend giving it a shot. I think it's maybe wait for a sale or see if it comes to PlayStation Plus or something like that. But I think it got widely ignored, but I don't think it was that bad, really.
I think I've lost
So.
my head. I am sorry.
Completed every Kingdom Hearts game over the summer last year. Jeez.
What's the matter, Emily?
Yikes. So, yeah. Kind of a surreal experience. Not bad. Okay. Next one is the Thaumaturge. Ever since Disco, I've been looking for a game, a CRPG, a kind of a top-down perspective. We'll do this one because it's a little bit longer. That, you know, scratches the itch or kind of completes, has narrative, but the gameplay outside of that is still interesting. And this one actually did a pretty good job. It has a turn-based combat system. It's considering Alone in the Dark for Halloween. Okay. But this one was kind of cool. It uses there's a let's see. It did hold my attention the whole way through. It's got a it's not Pokemon. It's not a monster collecting game, but you do collect these spirits that'll do your fighting for you. And it gives you an interesting approach to combat, and combat was actually pretty fun for a while. But there's a lot of combat. I would say too much combat. And by the end, I was all done with the combat. I didn't want to combat anymore. But the story was pretty interesting. The English translation was a little rough. There were some things that really didn't fit at all, but and when characters weren't delivering kind of ridiculous, like nonsensical lines, the story and some of the voice acting was actually pretty good. Let's see. Yeah, I guess the biggest thing with the combat is that there was too much of it and it did get repetitive. Last game I beat was Switch Bowling. Please tell me the Thaumaturge was good. I mean it's 27 out of 29. So, yeah, I mean it's 27 out of 29 on my list. But again, all of the games, I'm gonna say excluding Silent Hill, the short message, I beat that. That was only like 2.5 hours long. It was a short little experience. I was like, I'm just gonna get through it. It's fine. I enjoyed something about every game on this list. And Thaumaturge, if I'm not mistaken, is coming or has already come to consoles too. I played it on PC. But I think it has some interesting elements to it. Like to miss the rest of the stream, it takes an hour. Okay, sounds good, Bird. Have a good weekend, bud. We'll see ya. Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot about him. The Golem. Alan Wake 2. The Lake House. DLC. So this is 26 on my list. We won't talk about this one too long. I loved Alan Wake 2. I thought it was an amazing game. I had so much fun with it. But like most any game that I really, really like, I enjoy that experience. If I really liked it, I'll go play the DLC. But the DLC usually leaves me kind of on it. You know, it never hits the same.
It's like he's warning us.
I don't know if they're actually going to show gameplay on this.
What does it mean?
Yeah, they might. So, but the Lake House DLC takes you. It kind of explains kind of a side element of Alan Wake. My biggest complaints, I guess, with this one is that I thought the Lake House environment was kind of sterile. I wasn't a big fan of the new enemies that they introduced. And I really don't know that it added that much to the base game, but it was still more, Alan Wake 2, and it was an interesting exploration of more, content in the universe. That room confused me for a while. I remember that. But I don't know. Moving on. Indica. Number 25. This game was weird as hell.
It's hard to imagine a place more distant from adventure.
I wouldn't. By the way, if you're looking in terms of like scores, like where I'm at, like Indica, Alan Wake, the Thaumaturge, and the game that I'll talk about here in just a second after this one, like I gave it a 6 point. I would have given it a 6.75 out of 10 if that helps you in any way. So, there's probably so I'll be the first to admit that there's probably a lot of times where games go for a deeper meaning, a deeper, non-surface level exploration of themes and things like that. I don't always get that stuff, especially when I stream, which I didn't stream this one. I played this one on my own. But when I stream, my focus is so twisted and stuff on multiple things that sometimes that stuff will just whoosh, go right over my head. Indica is one of those games where I feel like, yes, I've listened to other people talk about it, and there's it's an exploration of religion and Catholicism and the devil, and it pokes fun at video games and gaming as a concept and rewarding a player and things like that. And it took me listening to some of those conversations to understand that better. I didn't get a lot of that stuff my first time through. Obviously, it's about Catholicism. Obviously, there's religious undertones. But to me, it kind of turned into sort of a nonsensical journey to places. But it did have one note near the beginning, something that happens when you're talking to a group of nuns. Something that comes from completely out of left field, just absolutely bonkers. It only takes like 4 or 5 seconds for the scene to quit, and it was when it happened. I was like, if there's more of this in this game, I'm in. I am all about it. And that was really the craziest thing that happened in the game. Nothing else reached those heights. But again, it's 6.75. There's enough there, and I feel like I'm the outlier with Indica. I think there's a lot of people that really, really, really liked Indica. So if you go into it in the right headspace, I also don't think it was super long. I think it was maybe a 4 or 5 hour game. It wasn't a very long game. Okay. Moving on, number 24. This one is also a 6.75, and then we get into the 7s. I was unfamiliar with this game. Breath of Death 7, The Beginning, Reanimated. But there's a song that I heard from this soundtrack a long time ago that I really liked. And at some point I was like, I'm going to look into this game. I should do it at some point. And then this was announced, and suddenly it was out this year, and I was like, oh, hey, you know what? That pixel art looks pretty sweet. Like, I could get into this. And I looked, and it wasn't a super long game, so I was like, well, okay, let's dive in and give it a shot. And it's pretty good for a throwback JRPG, based in a land of dead things. It's got some good humor to it. It's a pretty good time. It is pretty bare bones. There's nothing that is really making it stand out in terms of new combat systems or anything like that. But it's a fun kind of nostalgic SNES throwback. So if see it on sale or something like that, this is one that I would recommend if you're into those kind of games. Yeah, and that's Breath of Death 7: The Beginning Reanimated. Like I think I beat it in like 6 hours, which is weird for a JRPG because it feels like it's going to be longer than that. And you're kind of shaping yourself up for like this big, huge adventure, but you move through things pretty quickly. I don't think I don't think it needs to be longer, and I don't think it feels like it's perfectly paced. Okay, moving on. This one I actually played in 2025, but because nobody was auditing my list, I went back and I retroactively retroactively added it to my list, and that is called Go Home Annie. You don't like first-person turn-based? You know, I'm kind of the same way. I for some reason I need to see my characters on the screen. The only game that got away with it that I remember from when I was a kid that I enjoyed was Lufia. Lufia had the characters that were like you were playing from like a first person perspective, but other than that, it's weird. I don't know why, but it's something that is just it's just kind of a goofy thing. So Go Home Annie. Let's do this one. So Go Home Annie is a horror SCP game. SCP kind of being the, you know, the conceit behind like Control, right? With all of the, I can't remember what it stands for, but if you've paid attention to games at all in the last 5 to 6 years, you probably know what SCP is. It started really strong, but it did kind of it petered out as the game went on. This, like I said, and also this is the first one of the group of 7s that I found, or that I rated. There were a couple of issues where I got stuck in the world, in the geography, kind of fell through some graphics and things like that, but the checkpointing was fine, so it wasn't that big of a deal, but there were some technical issues. Autosaves were pretty generous. No, I have not tried Lisa the Painful, but I will at some point. That is, yeah, it's one of those on my list that I want to get to at some point. But yeah, it has some puzzles, but they're not too bad. Not that horrible. It's got an interesting story. There is some driving in the game, which is not bad for what kind of game it is. I mean, there's actually, you actually do a little bit of, like, quite a bit of driving. But yeah, that one just came out in December, so that one is that one hasn't really been out that long. So if you like first person horror experience, this was another one that I kind of I don't think I liked this as much as I liked what we just finished, Karma. But it is one that it felt like it had some of that. It wasn't so rough around the edges. It felt like it was polished and a little bit more cleaned up. So, yeah, that's Go Home Annie. This one is going to be tough to recall because I played it way back last January. But that is Grand Blue Fantasy Reeling. I was very much looking forward to this game for a long time just because I thought it looked incredible. I thought it had like amazing visuals. It reminded me of Tales of Arise, which I really enjoyed. Well, Justin, as I finish games, I make notes for myself so I can talk about them. I rate them. I put them in kind of an order. I'll manipulate the order as the year goes on or something. But I take notes of the high things and the things that bothered me, and go from there. But yeah, no, I couldn't remember this off the top of my head.
O shaman of salvation, long have we waited for this day.
This game was fine. I wish it would have been better. I do. Yeah, I keep a list in my did you fall behind again, Justin? I keep a list, Google Sheet that I update. I didn't know that this game was going to end up being kind of a. It wasn't. And maybe this is because I didn't do my research in the beginning. I didn't realize that this game was not just a single cohesive story. It's the continuation of a mobile game where you can learn about things that happened in the before times, but you learn it through a series of just blurbs and text boxes and stuff like that. So I wasn't a big fan of that because it didn't feel like a self-contained story then. It felt like a continuation of something that I was never exposed to. And when you beat the game, it becomes a gacha live service thing. And that said, I made it through and I rolled credits and I got to the end game stuff, which most people, if you're into this kind of stuff, then end game is where you want to be. But for me, end game is where the game ends. That's where I'm done. I didn't want to go back and play any more of it. So I don't know anything about the end game. I was done. But the combat was good. The combat was entertaining enough. The gotcha elements that were there did not feel horribly intrusive, which it better not be because it was a game that I paid money for. It's not a free-to-play gotcha game. So, in fact, I think this will go down as being maybe the only gotcha game I ever finish in my life. 5 seconds before you said you keep. Oh, okay. I have it on low latency. I haven't been brave enough to do the super low latency, so that could be all that is. But yeah, I mean, again, the game itself actually wasn't that long, which might make some people mad, therefore get them to go do more end game content. But I was glad when it was done. Again, I never felt like I was even introduced to the beginning of the story. I just kind of nestled into the middle, so I was good. I was good with that. Done. So, another game. Next up, Banishers, Ghosts of New Eden. We'll do this one. This is number 21, by the way. This game has some great side quests and some really good characters. But walking around and rehashing some of the same areas kind of held everything back for me because there was a lot of backtracking and things like that. The other thing that really held it back, I was hoping for what would be maybe a 12 to 15 hour experience. Just because of the areas and the places you visit and stuff, it felt like that was what I was getting myself into. I had played it for about 15 hours. Again, kind of rehashing the same stuff and going back and forth through areas, and eventually I got to the point where I'm like, I'm gonna just look up like how long this is. 15 hours was about 30 to 40% of what the estimated time to beat was. And so this is the only game on this list where I feel like I played it long enough to understand it and I could put it on here, but I didn't beat it. Yeah, I did not finish this game. The story was interesting, but it was really held back by all of the things that you had to do that took you away from the story. Again, like I said, the side quests are good. Side quests are obviously optional, but the side quests were worth doing. But it was just the moving around to places. The traversal wasn't very fun. Again, I just think the story could be about 40% shorter. But it is an interesting concept for a video game. It looks like it has a budget behind it. The characters were cool. What you're doing, banishing ghosts and spirits and stuff, some of those had some cool stories tied to them. If you want something you can kind of chomp into and go for 30, 40, 50 hours, then Banishers might fit you right. It could just be that I was like in a space where I just didn't want to dedicate another 25 hours on top of the 15 I'd already done. So, okay, this one is borderline blasphemy based on things that I've heard at the end of the year. 1000 Times Resist at number 20. A lot of people had this as like top 3 games of the year. We'll go here. But this has got a incredibly interesting story. And there were several times where it almost like took my breath away. Kind of some of the things that were happening that kind of separated chapters. Banishers and Flintlock both fit into the category of games I'm semi-interested in but waiting to pick up for cheap. Yes, I would recommend that for Banishers. Flintlock was on Game Pass, so I actually gave that one a shot as well. Was that this year? I can't remember. But yes, I would recommend waiting for probably a sale on Banishers at least. But 1000 Times Resist, it had those like jaw-dropping moments throughout, but everything between those sequences was, to me, this is one where the gameplay absolutely held the entire experience back. Where I know we've talked about narrative, like earlier, we talked about like how the narrative has to have that gameplay complement. And again, I think this has one of the strongest narratives and one of the best stories I've heard in a good long time. But there are sequences of just walking around, and then there's these other sequences where you're kind of not teleporting, but you're zooming through these different areas with like kind of broken memories, almost kind of a thing. And I didn't care for those much at all. Let's see here if there's anything else that I had written down. I ended up to make sure that I got through, because I absolutely wanted to get through 1000 Times Resist. I limited myself to 1 chapter per playthrough, because that way I was usually starting with some story. I was kind of having to grind a little bit through the to get through the gameplay parts to hit the big, end of chapter moment. That's what worked for me to make sure that I could finish it. Again, we're still in the 7s, by the way. The other thing about 1000 Times Resist, and this is a me thing, is that it does very much have a visual novel type of a vibe to it, type of a feel. So again, I don't do visual novels and stuff like that, so it was a little bit outside of my wheelhouse to begin with, but I'm really happy that I played it. All right, grab the next one. This is number 19 and the last of the 7s, Beyond Galaxyland. This is another fun throwback RPG, but instead of top-down pixel art, it is kind of a side-scrolling pixel art perspective, and it does some pretty fun things. So, it's just a fun short nod to classic JRPGs. I think maybe 8 hours, maybe. I can't remember off the top of my head, but not too long. Let's see. I'm just reading some of my notes. It says here, I don't think the story was as tidy as it could have been, but taking all elements into account, it was solid throughout. So I remember there were a couple of things where the story just kind of forced itself forward, but it wasn't like super well told as to why things were happening. So yeah, I don't know, but it's got some cool environments. It's got some the characters are kind of neat. It's a cool concept, sci-fi fantasy, and you get to have a giant gerbil as one of your buddies. So it's got some side quests. It's one that, again, it's on sale. I'd say give it a shot. Although that said, I really don't think it's that expensive to begin with. So Not too bad. All right. Number 18. Thank goodness you're here. This game was funny. This was a funny game. Yeah, it's probably one of the funnier games that I've played in quite some time. And it's also super short. 2.5, 3 hours, maybe. I thought you said giant girdle? Thank goodness you're here. What? Oh, giant gerbil. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, I got it. I thought you were talking about thank goodness you're here. I'm like, that doesn't sound anything like that. So, I put this one off for a really long time, and then finally I was like, it's 2.5 hours. Just let's jump in, see if it's something that you like. And I did. There's a lot of rehashing, kind of going through the same areas over and over again. And I always felt like I was going the right way, which I never want to do in those instances. I want to go the wrong way. Explore and look around and stuff like that. But the game has a way of getting you going in the right direction, regardless of if you want to explore or not. Because I don't think there's a lot of options for exploration outside of the main path. But that main path is like so cleverly disguised that you're always progressing and moving forward while still feeling like you're not missing anything. But yeah, I mean, you play the tiny little guy with the tie, and his only thing is he slaps people to get them to talk to him, or he slaps things to get, to interact with them, and that solves the town's problems. And it's a pretty good time. Oh my gosh. Number 17. I forgot that that was even last year. But Final Fantasy 16. The Rising Tide DLC. This is another instance of a game that I liked. I liked quite a bit. But when the DLC rolls around, I'm just not in the right headspace for it. So it was more Final Fantasy 16. It was a unique new area. It was also not so damn dark and dingy like the entire base game was. The fog or the mist or whatever it was, I can't remember, had lifted, and everything was a vibrant green, and it was nice to just have some color in the world again. But as muddy as the second half of the base game gets, like this place, like this was gorgeous. This was awesome. Combat still feels good, although it was really hard to come back to the combat in the DLC after not playing the base game in a really long time. Once I adjusted to it, though, it was pretty good. But I am done with these characters. I'm ready for. This was the last DLC, so Final Fantasy 16 is done now. And then my only real complaint about this one, which it can be kind of a big one, is I really didn't like the fight against the boss, which I think it was announced like in the DLC or in the announcement. Yeah, there he is. So yeah, the boss, you fight the icon Leviathan, and I hated that fight. Again, I don't know if it's because I was just rusty after not having played for so long. But I feel like there was one sequence specifically that was just super cheap. Like it would like one-shotted me, and it did it like 3 or 4 times. And I guess there was a trick to it, but it was just one of those non-choreographed things. I don't know. It just had a cheap element to it, but still gave it a 7.25 for a DLC. That ain't bad. Speaking of weird little games, have you looked into the remake of The End of the Greatest RPG of All Time? Looks like a CW game for sure. No. And I'm actually having a hard time reading that statement and figuring out what the actual name of the game is. Okay. Next up. Number 16, The Plucky Squire. Did you ever finish that, Kate? And then Elden Ring came. Still need to do the Final Fantasy 16 DLC. I've been trying to wait to see if the Final Fantasy 16 Xbox rumors. I mean, at this point, it has to be. Well, maybe no. I guess it doesn't have to be. Yeah. I don't know. Didn't you say that you have Didn't you get a PS5, or are you still only on Xbox? I thought that you grabbed a PS5. Maybe I'm making that up. Lucky Squire was just a pleasant experience. And it was actually kind of fun because it's one that Jack played for a while. Did he didn't finish it either, did he? I don't think he did. I think he put it down eventually, but it was fun watching kind of solve some of the puzzles. The game is called the remake of the End of the Greatest RPG of all time. Okay. No, I haven't heard of that. There were some bugs that kind of showed up near the end of the game as I got closer to the end that I think it hampered my progress for a little bit. I had to like restart once or twice, but there are also a couple puzzle solutions. I'm not a puzzle guru, obviously. If you guys have been here, you know that. So I had some trouble with some of the puzzles, being maybe a little bit too abstract, but it wasn't that bad. But it was just a solid game throughout. All right, moving into the top 15. Number 15, and our first 7.5 on the list is Mouthwashing. This is a dark game. Let's see. Mouthwashing. Let's do this one. Mouthwashing puts you in a spaceship in space, basically as like an Amazon delivery service type thing, and horrible things happen. Just horrible things. And the whole game is about horrible things happening. And horrible revelations coming true and everything like that. It's just really creepy, really unsettling. But again, it's another short game that has some like kind of holy shit moments in it. So it's one that I don't want to say too much about in case people haven't played it. You should play it though. I think it's worth the playthrough. It's again, like I said, it's not very long, so maybe check it out. Number 14, Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D remake. I have not played Dragon Quest 3 since it was on the NES. And to be honest, I didn't remember anything about it because it had been so long. But I was excited about it nonetheless because Dragon Quest is a big part of my upbringing. The first video game I remember playing, and I played it with my mom, the original Dragon Quest. So, good-looking game. I thought it was quite a bit longer than I was expecting for a remake of an NES game, which, holy smokes. Again, I don't know. I mean, it took me 30 hours, 35 hours for this game, and I mean, it was fun and it was engaging throughout, but it was I couldn't imagine playing an NES version of this game for 35 hours. As a kid, I would have lost my mind. But despite the pretty look and the up-res, just the remake qualities, the core game is still pretty archaic. It's missing a lot of quality of life stuff that the genre has added over the years. So some of that got to be a little bit grating. And I'm sorry, it wasn't a 30-hour game. It took me close to 50 hours to beat. 30, I think, would have been much more digestible, but there's a pretty significant end sequence that took a long time. But yeah, I was absolutely ready when the game was done. It cut some of that. Again, I guess I'm just at that stage where, and maybe it was being a streamer for so long and with all these games coming out at all times, where I don't like to get stuck on a game for too long. And even though I wasn't streaming this one, I kind of still have that I brought with me from streaming. So maybe it's just right, but I just felt like 50 hours was maybe too long for this experience. So, but still a 7.5. Clearly wasn't as bad as Suikoden though. No, I enjoyed this way more than I enjoyed Suikoden. Suikoden 1. For sure. Suikoden will end up on next year's DNF list. Steam and Cinder. Number 13, Gestalt, Steam and Cinder. A very good, very fun Metroidvania. Big chunky pixel art. Just my jam. I don't know why I went full screen there. I don't like that. There's the first person turn-based combat again. For Suikoden? No, Suikoden has your characters on the screen. It just has them kind of tucked down at the side. If you give me a good Metroidvania, give me a good map, give me some chunky pixel art, that's my point. That's where I'm at these days. And this is one. In fact, my highest rated game right now, 2025, is a Metroidvania that follows those exact rules. But this was another. It's a good Metroidvania. Good secrets. A lot of stuff to find. Engaging combat. What else what did I write here? Solid progression. A fair challenge until the end game where I actually thought things got a little too easy. And there's an interesting story that is primed for a sequel. So it does, I think there is a little bit of a cliffhanger ending, so we could see a Gestalt 2 at some point. I hope this game got played. I didn't hear anybody talk about it ever. And that always makes me kind of sad when it's a game that I like. But yes, I would recommend checking out Gestalt, Steam and Cinder. And there was a demo. I don't know if there still is. I fell for a scam and provided information to the scammer. Not a good idea. Oh, yes, Dragon Quest. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, Dragon Quest has first-person combat. I guess that is another one that I was okay with. Said above, I do have a PS5, but let someone I don't talk to anymore borrow Final Fantasy 16. I hate to buy it again on PS5. Oh, okay. If you don't talk to them again, maybe it's worth saying one thing, and that's give me my game back. maybe you have one last conversation with them. All right, number 12. Still Wakes the Deep. Let's do this one. This is from the Xbox partner preview, so I might fast forward to gameplay. This is another game that game that came to Game Pass. And I mean, I'll be honest, I spent the first probably quarter of the game like, am I enjoying this? Am I liking this? I don't know. And actually, even as I'm revisiting here, I'm like, maybe this one could have bumped down a little bit, but I gave it a 7.5. It's very linear, which I don't hate. I don't hate a linear experience. I don't mind that. But when I say very linear, I mean there's really no branching paths to speak of. There's no collectibles to find or anything like that, if I'm recalling correctly. The linearity though is presented in a way that in this game it is a little off-putting. Like there's doors all around you at some points, and it's just none of them can be touched or messed with except the only path that's forward. And there's really no explanation as to why you couldn't check those other doors. Yeah. There is no fighting. But I wouldn't say it's gosh, I wouldn't go so far as to say it's like Outlast in that regard. You do run from things, but I don't think I don't know if that's an apt comparison. It's more the environment. You do, I mean, you do run from things occasionally, but it's more of it's the the creepy scariness doesn't necessarily come from that and that alone, like it doesn't Outlast. But it is an interesting setting. It's a 1970s oil rig, and one of the interesting things, it's just fascinating to listen to. They put oh, I gotta think. Is it Scottish? Is that I gotta think of. I can't think of. I think it's Scotland, off the coast of Scotland. But some of the dialogue and stuff is, it's shared and voice acted in that dialect to the point where they'll use terms from, you know, that area, and the subtitles at the bottom will correct it for audiences that are like, what does that mean? That doesn't, what are you talking about? So the subtitles won't directly reflect what they're saying. But it is really well voice acted. Another relatively interesting story, keeping you moving forward. Little rough around the edges in some spots, but as long as 90% of the game isn't that, I'll enjoy it more. No, yeah, it's definitely not 90% of the game. I would consider giving it a shot. Especially again, it was on Game Pass. It should still be on Game Pass. Maybe that's enough of an investment. Play it for a couple hours and see what you think. This one I'm absolutely positive would have been higher if I had more friends playing it at launch. But I also was not willing to. There were a lot of people playing it at launch, but I just wasn't in a multiplayer mindset at the time, so I played it single player. But Helldivers 2. Yeah, I didn't put a ton of time into the game, but I can absolutely see, with the right group of people, just the amount of fun that could be had in this game. Go Gadget trailer. Go Gadget trailer. There we go. The other reason I didn't put a lot of time into it is because I played it at launch, and they had a lot of server issues. So it was kind of picking and choosing my time to get in, and not really being committed to wanting to play multiplayer at that time. But yeah, I wish I could have gone back in time and played this multiplayer when the servers were functioning and it was like at its best. I mean, there's nothing stopping me from playing it now, but other than all the other games that I want to play. But man, I think I would have loved this one. This is a weird ranking on my list. It's at number 11. It's a 7.5, and I really don't. I feel like I didn't even scratch the surface of what it could have been. This one I actually feel a little guilty having it on the list at all, but I just have such a strong feeling that I really would have enjoyed it, given a different set of circumstances. And a reason, I mean, it did revitalize my interest in multiplayer games too. So that is a reason why it's ranked highly. That because there was really nothing else that even, you know, Call of Duties and all that stuff, things that I'm just like, I don't care anymore. This kind of turned me onto the idea. Number 10, Black Myth Wukong. I wish I would have played this on PS5. I played it on PC, and it made my computer hurt. This is an extremely this is a resource-intensive game, and I had to mess with some things quite a bit just to get it running smoothly. And then I felt like I was losing a lot of quality. And I'm not saying the PlayStation 5 would have necessarily been better. I like to think my computer is on par with the PlayStation 5, but I can never tell. I don't know. But yeah, I tried to make it run smoothly, but there were parts that were pretty rough, frame rate wise. And again, that's more my own setup as it is an issue with the game, but very good Souls, like tons of bosses, some very difficult combat, which isn't something that I always love, but the environments I thought were really cool. It's an interesting story, a lot of progression and upgrades and things like that. Some of the combat is so... One of the issues that I had... By the way, this is a 775. This is the only 775 on the list. The combat is so animation intensive that it felt like there were a lot of inputs that would miss, and sometimes it would cost me pretty significantly, where I was kind of relying on an attack to go off to kind of stun an enemy or move myself away, and sometimes that just wouldn't happen, and it would lead to me meeting my demise in more instances than one. But yeah, the environments were, like I said, were cool. The bosses were cool. We can talk about the controversy surrounding game science and the note or the message that they put out regarding like they put out a message to streamers saying you can't talk about China, like I think in any way, shape, or form, and you can't discuss feminism or something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was like super just gross. Oh, you can't talk about COVID. You can't bring up COVID. Just things like that. Yeah, and that's the other thing, Justin. It did turn into this. Yeah, it was used as this tool for hate on the internet and stuff, and it just always kind of had a gross backstory to it. But which is too bad because you know I think the game was good. I try not to let that stuff affect my opinion of it that much. Like Hogwarts Legacy, I loved that game, but obviously it has its non-game focused issues. So based on my experience with the game and just the game, I thought it was really solid. Okay. So, moving on to number 9. Alan Wake 2 Night Springs DLC. I've mentioned a couple times, there's been a couple DLCs on here, but I've mentioned a couple times that sometimes when the DLC rolls around, I'm so disconnected from the game that it's hard for me to really get back into it and invest myself into it. The nice thing about this DLC is that it kind of flipped the entire script. It wasn't where the lake house, the gameplay was kind of a direct continuation of Alan Wake 2. The Night Springs DLC just kind of turned everything upside down, and it was just a goofy, fun time. It kind of takes an anthology approach using the characters from the game. Obviously, you know, you see Sam Lake there. That girl from Control, I can't think of her name right now. It's gonna drive me nuts. But yeah, it's a really fun DLC. It's very cool. So again, if you liked Alan Wake 2, I would recommend. And you only want to play one DLC and not the other, I would recommend you play Night Springs. Let's go indie style. Number 8, Balatro. They, you know, somebody just wrote a story on how you actually pronounce it, and I already forgot it again. I'm assuming everybody in the world knows what Balatro is. I played it pretty hard for like a couple weeks. I enjoyed it. I still do enjoy it, but I am trying to kind of like not just play games on my phone all the time. It is not poker. It is poker. It is poker-esque. So, but it's fun. Jack's played it. Jack has fun with it. I never got very good at it. I never had any like super crazy runs. I've beaten a couple of decks. but I've kind of put it down for now. It's fun, but I still think it's no Slay the Spire. You never played the first Alan Wake? Okay. I mean, I think they have a remaster out for that. So you haven't played Alan Wake or Alan Wake 2? Balatro is currently my addiction outside of Monster Hunter. Got you. Got you. Yeah, so that's Balatro. We don't have to spend a lot of time on that because everybody in the whole world talks about Balatro. By the way, that one is an 8, along with Night Springs. And now we're moving on to 8.25, Silent Hill 2. I never beat Silent Hill 2 as a youngster. And I really like the Silent Hill movie. And I think I always liked the idea of Silent Hill so much, but I considered myself a fan of the concept of Silent Hill, having not really played them prior to 2. I was super excited about PT, Silent Hills, with Kojima and is that Guillermo del Toro working on that. So I was really excited at this announcement. I was a little worried about Bloober. I really like Layers of Fear, but I haven't really liked anything else that Bloober has done. But I thought Silent Hill 2 was actually super good. I don't know how people that are Silent Hill 2 like OG fans feel. But it's the kind of horror game that I'm 100% about and into. There are some very, very creepy moments and atmospheric stuff. I liked it. Actually, just watching this trailer again too, I'm like, oh, that was a good time. That was a good time. Oh man, we need to prioritize those, Justin. We need to get you on those Alan Wakes. All right, moving on. Number 6, Dragon Age. Can't type. Dragon Age, the Veilguard. I think I like this game more than most. I was kind of off-put by rehashing the same areas over and over again, as we've talked about in other games. It's just not my favorite thing to do, but I get it. Big games like this, you kind of have to maximize your budget, and that means returning to places that you've already been. And I do feel like it didn't bother me as much at the end of the game as it did when I kind of first figured out that that's what I was going to be doing. Did I like it more than Inquisition? Gosh. I think so. Inquisition's always a tough spot for me because I lost that save file. I never actually beat Inquisition. I lost it with like 90 hours in or something. But I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. Let me see what I wrote here for the notes. So incredibly reliable. I didn't really have any down points from it. I don't know. I mean, it was nothing that there's nothing that blew my mind or anything, but I just don't remember there being anything that really felt like bad about it. Story was good enough. Combat was solid. A little underwhelmed with some of the writing, especially related to Tosh. I felt there was a lot of rehashing the same areas over and over again, but still a very good game. So those are my thoughts there. Unfortunately, it didn't do very well financially. I understand that because I think BioWare has been even further gutted. It still exists, but I think a good chunk of that is now working on other projects and no longer with BioWare proper. But that's not great because I would really like to see how the next Mass Effect comes out if it happens at all. Number 5 and an 8.5, Metaphor ReFantasio. You loved Origins 2 though. You didn't like Inquisition as much. I wonder how you will feel if you play Veilguard then. Metaphor ReFantazio is a neat game. And it's exciting to me because after playing Persona 5, going back and playing Persona 4, not being able to finish Persona 3, I was like, shoot. Is the Atlas... Are Atlas games just no longer my thing? Can I not do Atlas games anymore? And then Metaphor came, and I'm like, nope, I can totally do Atlas games. Just a solid JRPG through and through. Music was amazing. The story was super good. The combat was engaging and fun. Let's see. I will say the reason I was worried about like Atlas games appealing to me is I don't think I'll ever be a very big fan of the the day by day approach to that the Atlas games use. You know, every day you have the option to go do things like that. I don't think I'll ever love that. I didn't necessarily love it in Metaphor. But that said, the story and the characters were strong enough that I was still very interested in everything that was happening. If I have one nitpick, is that I think the ending was long. When I thought the game was over, the game was like, no, we're not even close. So yeah, I think I like Veilguard less. It went even further from CRPG. Yeah, I mean that's true. Yeah, no, it plays like a full-on action RPG now. So yeah, that you might not enjoy Veilguard as much. Number 4, Astrobot. This game is awesome. It's number 4 awesome, but it's awesome. I give it an 8.75. Gorgeous, fun, nostalgic. There's not much else to say. Again, if I want to be nitpicky, there were some parts of the game that I think the platforming specific was a little, there's some areas that were a little bit difficult, not because the platforming was bad or felt bad, but because of like the perspective you were forced into. Some of the challenge levels, like, they were extra frustrating only because I felt like I didn't have a good idea of where my character was or where they'd be landing, and it just caused me to die a lot when trying those. But again, those are optional difficult courses, but it was it's just more Astrobot, and Astrobot's good. Astrobot's so good. Being able to find all the robots, being able to find the puzzle pieces, the hidden areas, and being able to do it in a logical manner, like missing something, but then being able to like bring up the pause menu and seeing like, okay, I found this one here, I found this one here, I'm missing one in between, so let me backtrack, because the way that they're listed in the game is how they're listed in the levels. I just love that. It helps, it like satisfies that completionist aspect, without going super out of the way. So yes, Astrobot, very, very good. I understand why it won Game of the Year. Number 3, Stellar Blade. Justin, you talked a little bit about Stellar Blade and how you think you will probably play it at some point. I would strongly recommend it. This was another one that I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna play it. I just don't know. Kind of on the fence. Let's go here. Come on, internet. But when I finally jumped into it, yeah, it was very good. The music was so reminiscent of the Nier games, and I think the music actually carried me more through this experience.
Thank you.
Or it felt like it resonated with me more than almost any game on this year's list. Like, the music in Stellar Blade is so underrated. It has some jank. It's not a perfect game, but again, it's one of those that is mired in some controversy outside of the game. Looking at the character, you can probably understand where that came from, and some of the opinions that were put out there and stuff. It's another game that was kind of used for everybody's anger fuel. But man, this game it's magnificent. My absolute surprise of the year. I just didn't think I would enjoy it as much as I did. So number 2, last couple, then I promise we'll wrap up. The Last of Us Part 2 remastered. I feel a little gross putting this on here because I don't necessarily think that these games, Last of Us Part 2, I don't necessarily think that these games need remastering, but I played it and I liked it. I liked it a lot. I don't know why my trailers are dying here. My internet's kind of giving up the ghosting here a little bit. Feels like a game I'd have to explain to my family why I'm playing it. You know, if it wasn't, I mean, yeah, the character, yeah, going back to Stellar Blade, yes, you run in a third-person perspective, and that booty is there all the time. It is. Now, you decide how covered or uncovered that booty is, but it's there, and there's no getting away from it. But yes, there's nothing else really controversial in the game besides that. So I thought it was just fantastic. But anyway, moving on to Last of Us Part 2. If you played Last of Us Part 2, this is the remastered version. It's still a very good game. I actually liked it more the second time I played it, probably because I streamed it the first time and I think I missed. There's just story beats that I missed. But gosh, what a good time. Last of Us Part 2 has significantly less boob. Not true. Not true. There is that scene where you do see Abby's boobie. Full boobie. That means there's more boobie in this game than there is in Stellar Blade. Full boobie. What do you mean? You can't say significantly less. 0.99% of a boob is less than one full boob. Trust me, I'm a scientist. And number 1, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Boom. I do sometimes feel just a little bit guilty about this because Final Fantasy VII is my game. That's just how it is. It just is my game. I'm not saying it was destined to be number 1, but I was so happy with it throughout. There are parts that, yes, I could criticize. Some of the task listy stuff in some of the areas are a little brutal, and you know, the ending I really would like to have, you know, some sort of conversation with somebody with about at some point. But basically everything that I wanted from Remake, I got in Rebirth. Now, since Rebirth has come out, I hear people saying that they think Remake is the stronger game, and I think that is bananas. I think that is absolutely bananas. I think Rebirth is such a stronger game through and through. The combat's better. The variety is better. The Midgar is like a fun, you know, it's a fun area, but it should never have been a 40-hour area. Like, it just shouldn't have been. Seeing all of these other areas, I just think it's exponentially better than Remake. But yeah, no, this was absolutely my number 1. So, and with that, those are my best games of 2024. Like I said, I'll cut this out and I'll try to get a video posted, just kind of going through it and discussing it further. But I'm gonna get you guys out of here because I kind of want to watch the Twins game. Home opener. They started a little bit ago, so, and then I got to go get the kiddos. But I like I said, we'll get you guys out of here. Thank you again for hanging out. Karma, that was a short little snippet of the stream today, but we'll be back on Tuesday with, I think, South of Midnight. So, Combat and Remake makes it hard for me to play, and I can't explain why. I understand that. The combat took me some adjusting to. I think Combat and Rebirth is better. It's not substantially different, but it does some things better. So, yeah. But all right, I'm out of here, guys. Have a good weekend. I will see you guys next week for South of Midnight on Tuesday. Bye-bye.